Welcome back, everyone, to Dark Marketing. I'm your host, Big Dom, and this is part 2 to our Scrapebox tutorial for generating and building lists to use for GSA website contact to fill out contact forms. With that being said, let's get started. Okay, let's take a look at my remote system here. And I've got my Scrapebox running, but now I've got my premium plugins. I also purchased the email scraper plugin. So we've got, and once you make that purchase, like for example, these are unpurchased. So if I were to select purchase plugin, it'll take me to the purchase page. And then after you make that purchase, it takes about 12 hours for them to complete the mission. And then you'll open up your, this dialog again, and it'll be in red, and you'll have the option to install the plugin. Only takes a minute, works like a dream. Once that happens, those plugins will show up here that are now available. So we're using the Yellow Pages scraper. Now I already did this scrape. Let's just step back one. I already actually have them in here. Now I just want to point out that I'm testing several proxy companies, and I'm using Proxy Scrape, where I purchased 2,500 IPv4 proxies. So those are generally more expensive than IPv6. 2,500 for $54 for 1 month. It's a really good deal. And one of the drawbacks is you can only authenticate them by IP address. We'll talk about that actually in our next video as we get into GSA website contact and some of the setup, but we will be getting into the mechanics of the settings and how we're looking for better ways to increase the quality of our submissions or higher success rates. So that being said, of course, that starts here. We need super quality lists. So the Yellow Pages is one of the most comprehensive. And so once we select that, now we see here, there's no real rhyme or reason except that they put them alphabetically by city. So I would have really liked a sort option where I could have done them by states, so I could group all the states, since they have all locations or your own locations, and then you can select them. It's, that's a time-consuming process. So in my particular case, I thought the best thing is I'm just going to take all locations, and I'm going to search for plastic surgeons, cosmetic surgeons, and I think that's probably enough for our thing here. Connections, I'm going to turn this up to like 30. Okay? And by default, this is set to 10. You want to set this to 0, because if you set it to 10, you'll only get 10 responses, and you'll be brain farting a little bit going, hey, how come I'm only getting 10? And the reason is down here. So you want to set these to 0. So now I've got all my IPs in over here, and I'm basically ready. So let's just start it. I'm not running a VPN because these IP addresses for this process authenticate by IP address, and I'm just using my own IP address, which would be fine. And I did test with some VPNs. I was able to set actually use the VPN and this is with Surfshark, where I can set a static IP address. They have a setting, and I was able to set that IP address and then add that to my list with Proxy Scrape as an authenticated IP, and it worked. But this is fine for our purposes. I don't need any extra, protection going on against my IP, as the software is going to run all these requests through the proxies. So let's just start and take a look, and let's take a look at the speed at which this is really going. Now this computer is an HP 8300 refurbished box. It has 32 gigabytes of RAM and just an average i7 processor. And that's really, the specs on this particular model has Windows 10 Professional, which is why I can remote into it, and we can see that list is running away. And down here in the bottom right hand corner, this is where we see our numbers going up. So we're going to just let this run. As we can see, this list is just flying. This is actually not going to take long because I've already run this, and we'll pause the video and then we'll come back when it's complete. Wow. Now, it's only been maybe a little less than 15 minutes, and it's still running. And look, I've got over 640,000 records, and it is still going. Now, this is much better than some of the tests that I was doing yesterday. And in those tests, I pasted in a list of phrases that were, a bit more extensive than this. I did a short list. I was messing around with setting multiple locations. Perhaps I didn't, I affected the output, although I did get high numbers, but not in this range. So just for the sake of this video, I'm going to stop this here. But normally, I'm working in the office, I'm doing other things. I'm going to let this run to the end, as long as it's not going to continue all day, because I know there's a finite number out there. And we're talking about, okay, it's showing me I'm already closing in on 700,000. So let's just stop it, okay? Now, the thing about this up here, this area, you cannot manipulate or grab these columns and expand them. The only thing you can do is, scroll left to right. You can't sort or do any kind of function. But here, what we want to do is go down to our filter, and let's go remove duplicates with the same website, because it's the websites we're interested in for GSA website contact. So now that I've done that, look how much my list has reduced. It's now down to 18,000. However, 18,000, that is fantastic, okay? So obviously what I'm going to want to do is, let this run to the limit to go through its entire database. I'm sure it's not going to be an all-day thing. It'll hit the apex to ensure that I get everything. Let's say it runs up to 1 million. There's a good chance then maybe I'll get 20,000 websites total. As again, I said, I don't know what the total number of plastic surgeons, reconstructive cosmetic surgery, doctors there are total in the United States, but I'm sure that's info that I could look up, so I can sort of try to compare that to what's potentially the amount of websites that are out there. So that being said, now I've got a great list. But, assuming like if you were doing it for other purposes, there are other, let's move this up so we can see this. There are other filtering options, okay? Now, as you can note here, we don't get email, and that is because they don't list email on the yellow pages. So if we want to get the email, what's going to happen is we're going to have to run that through another process. So let's just go, what we're going to want to do is we're going to export this. And let me just make a new folder. I'm going to call this data sets, data sets. We'll drop this in, and this is my plastic surgeons list. Boom. Okay, and now I've got all of that info here. And now once I can take that info that's from the website and take those URLs, and what we can do, we can load them into here. So I don't have Excel on here. I will have to extract that separately. But what we would do is paste those URLs into here, and then with the grab and check, we could grab emails by crawling the sites. However, we have the email plugin, so we're going to take a look at that now next. So let me set the list up so I can put some URLs into here, and we can see the full functionality. Alright, let's see if I got this straight. I've extracted the URLs and I dropped them in a text file. So let's get them imported here. My data sets, plastic surgeons, URLs. Okay, and this is interesting. See this? Well, I'm going to just leave those in there for now. Because actually, if we were going to use this, we were going to use the grab and check. We would grab the emails from a local list. And also, here I've got only my 10 proxies. Here's my 2500 list. Now I got all that in there. So I got power if I wanted to actually run the grab and check emails, crawling sites, okay? But we got the premium plugin, so let's launch that. Now, this acts much like the main program does in that you can put your keywords in here, select your sources, and begin a scrape. But that's not what we're doing. We're using our URLs. So, load URLs from a file, which is our data sets, plastic surgeons, voila, okay? And we can send the emails to a verifier. Okay, well, let us begin. Oh, no emails to verify. I guess that was a mistake. Let's try that again. Email scraper. Crawl loaded list. Load URLs from file. There it is. Options. This gives us things that we could filter out, like we might want to tell it. You know, we could do this after the fact, where we may want to filter out things like if they have emails like admin at the website. You know, we don't want to contact the admin, that sort of thing. But let's just get into the straight run here, because what we really want to do is just kind of cover the basics to get you started, because this software is, well, it's rather intense in the fact that there's just a lot of things that you can do with it, with its basic capabilities of utilizing keywords and scraping sites for various purposes, whether you're trying to put together email lists or much more detailed data structure sets. So this is such a great tool. We're going to let this run a little while. I'm going to pause the video and then we'll come back and let's look at our results. All right, this has been going about 10, maybe 15 minutes. And out of my 18,000 URLs, we've processed over 7,500, and we've only extracted 700, you know, a little over 700. So let's just stop this here, because this video is not really about extracting emails. I just wanted to demonstrate that plugin, but we could save that to a text file. We could save all the emails with the URL to a text file, save a grid, contact, some useful extra options here. Okay, save URLs without emails. Okay, so that's kind of pointless for us. But you can see the email extractor plugin is very useful, because I realized too, I have probably a good use to do some targeted emailing campaigns. And this is a great way to extract those emails where I can literally target the industries. Now, I didn't test the grab and check, so I'm probably going to go through that to do that for the email. But what we're really covering here is getting our contact form lists, okay? So, and that's why I don't want to go off the rails. I just wanted to get you into the basics of understanding a little bit about Scrapebox, because very powerful tool for list management. And, you know, these things are at the core of everything that we do. And what's important to understand is that if you really want to have success, you know, that people think about GSA website contact, you see a lot of, hey, make money online videos with that. And they're all in the vein of affiliate marketing. But affiliate marketing is not the only opportunities that are out there. So if you've got products or services that you can target specific audiences, you can see how Scrapebox becomes a game changer. And when used in combination with GSA website contact and possibly even bulk mailings, becomes a very powerful tool in your arsenal. And there's so many things that you can do with it. All right, let's experiment with another scenario. I do a lot of work in the semiconductor industry. And realizing that this works more efficiently when we actually target the categories that appear in the yellow pages. So what I did is I chose a couple of phrases that I'm hoping are going to help expose the categories. I'm going to choose all locations, all my other settings the same, and I'm going to let it run. And what we'll do is let's let this go the distance, or at least a good piece of it. I'm going to pause the video and then we'll come back and take a look. But my main objective here, because I just want to get far enough to see what type of categories potentially come up. So let me just let this go a little bit. Like I said, we'll pause the video and then we'll come back. Alright, I let this go about 5 minutes because I just really want to see what the category results are. And so we'll stop it. Let me stretch this out a little bit. And, you know, for me, I understand the differences when we start talking about electronic equipment and supplies. This may fall under semiconductor devices, but it's not necessarily, you know, something I'm going to want. Because electronic components, well, of course, there's a lot of things that have electronic components, but we're not interested in the wholesale manufacturing, the level that the way this is describing, as I understand it, these categories. So that's probably something I'm going to want to omit when I do this. And I might want to try, you know, because a lot of the things that the companies that I deal with are actually test manufacturers. I might want to just see what I get with semiconductor test and let that run. And of course, even though I'm seeing these categories, that doesn't really matter. I know these companies' names as soon as I see them. I'm extremely familiar with the semiconductor and semiconductor equipment manufacturers, test equipment manufacturers industry. So I know all the big players, companies' names. I follow them not only as a matter of SEO, but the entire market from a business perspective and the world economics. A lot about what's revolving around China and Taiwan, as some of my largest clients actually are based out of Taiwan. So, but in the realm of what we're doing here, we can see we can get a lot of very useful targeted list information that when we take that list and we combine that into with GSA website contact, which I have a copy on this machine. Let's just stop this because I just want to demonstrate how easy it is really to get these lists. And boy, this would really be fantastic if they listed the email, the yellow pages of the actual websites, and we could get that in one shot. Now, the purpose of these two videos was to get your whistle wet with Scrapebox, to understand about building lists and how you want to learn to build more targeted lists that you can really utilize when we're using GSA website contact. Because we're going to go back into this software in the next video. But understanding that Scrapebox is an extremely powerful tool, and I have not even begun to touch on all of its capabilities or the myriad of uses that the add-ons, you know, cover here, very specific things. But you can start to understand, depending on what you're doing in your specific field, area of interest, niche, that you will find things in here that can help you maximize your opportunities. Because making money online, just doing it blindly, you know, even if you're just doing affiliate marketing, look, you want to understand how to really do it more successfully. And yes, you can go out and buy lists from other people. If you've got a good product that can generically, you know, one size fits all, that any website is going to potentially be interested in. Because remember, we're filling out their contact forms. We're not selling them diet products. That's a waste of electricity. Even if we filled out 2 million and we made one sale, it would have cost us more in electricity running our systems just to make that one sale. We want things that are going to net results. I'd much rather have a short running campaign that yields a much higher return in lead generation or potential sales. So, understanding that, these tools are the way to go. Now, even if you just want to search websites, general, you know, to build a general list, no specific targeting, you could fill these keywords with a long list of keywords that on a broad range of topics, because it's not going to need to scan deeply, and then just let it run. And then obviously, probably it's a good idea to have a lot of really, you know, proxies, more than 10, because you're going to be doing something a bit more extensive and you want to let it be able to run. And that's one of the reasons that I tried this Proxy Scrape company. I saw them on another video from the guy Ivan SEO that I pointed out in the previous video to this one. And even though he was reviewing them probably a year ago or more. I went and checked them out, and I was like, oh, this is a pretty good deal. And I have other proxy uses that I'm testing them for across the board. So I've got a lot of scenarios running in the office right now. I've got some GSA campaigns that I'm running different scenarios so we can explore the results in the next video. And I can talk about different types of setups and how some may be better or actually went worse, and the learning experience involved and the procedures that I used to figure out where the possibilities might lie for me to make more successful submissions. So with that being said, hope you really, kind of take away, this is such a good software. Now, I have 3 licenses, and at $97 a license, the premium plugins, each premium, the email scraper, when I purchased the Yellow Pages scraper, you get all 4 of these in that purchase, and it's $47. The email scraper was $47, and it was only that plugin. However, I have 3 licenses, and as I start up each copy on another machine, which I can show you here, I have another machine running, you can see, this responds, that the premium plugins are here. Now, I didn't install it, so let's take a look. And we can see the email scraper premium is available to me. So now all I need to do is install and update the plugin, and that will now be available for me here. So I didn't have to purchase 3 licenses of the plugins. I only had to purchase 1 single license, and it's available on all 3 of my systems that I run Scrapebox on. So, with that being said, guys, I hope you guys get involved with a copy of Scrapebox and start experimenting with today, because this is a very powerful tool, and I'm sure your mind and the wheels are turning already about the possibilities of things that you can do with this to gain more targeted lists for various purposes, and most especially GSA contact, that we can really take it to them with success if we're going to promote something. Now, before I forget, I wanted to point out that if you're trying to figure out if you're hitting the apex of your market, because like I showed with the software, you're often going to see a lot more results, and then when you remove the duplicates, you're going to wind up with a lesser number. So if you want to get a sense of, what is the apex, like in my case, I searched estimated total number of plastic surgeons in the United States, and there it is. There are 12,112 plastic surgeons businesses in the U.S. as of 2023. That's all I need to know right now to get the feel of, am I hitting the right number? Because I highly doubt there's a plastic surgeon anywhere in the United States that doesn't have a website. It's a very competitive business in that regard. So, and likewise, you can apply this to other industries if you're trying to get a sense of, you don't really know how many there are, and you want to, you don't want your software running endlessly only to find out there's not as much as you thought. And you're going to learn over time that, hey, if I let this run to, for so long, you're certain length of time, and you're getting so many hundreds of thousands that, you're going to, after 1 or 2, 3 tests, you're going to begin to realize that you're not really getting any much more if you continue to let it run, even though you may seem to drive up these very high numbers. So a little bit of testing, a little patience, doesn't take long, a good amount of, a decent system to run it on, and enough IP addresses, and you're not going to have any problem determining and making great lists with this. So that being said, I'm not going to go any deeper than that for these 2 videos. But however, I do see I'm going to be doing a lot more with Scrapebox myself and videos to go with it, because I realize I have not utilized this software enough, and it's just like anything. I do so many things in the office, it's difficult. But in the context of this channel, one thing I tried to do with this channel is, you can almost think about it like a college course, that college major. And your first year, you're going to be learning about the basics, the fundamental basics, and getting exposed to the range of softwares that are involved in our universe, from marketing, SEO, affiliate marketing, or marketings of your business in more direct forms, whether by contact forms, emails, and backlinking, you know, all of these things combined, including YouTube. And so that you really get that understanding, which is why we still have to do XRumor and Ranker X. But at the same time, I'm integrating, going back to some of these softwares and getting deeper into the systems and the setups, so where you really start to understand the fine minutia. And in order to do that, we had to get into this process of list building and how we can make more successful lists to do more targeted campaigns, so we can really make $1,000 a day or $4,000 a month, because that's what everyone wants. But the road to getting there really requires a greater insight at both the macro level and the cosmic level, of the entirety of the internet. So we want to think big and small. We want to think astrophysics, and we want to think about quantum physics, what happens at the micro level. And that's what we're talking about in here, that the content that we're getting, the data to build our campaigns and how we can get that. And I'm sure, as I said, the wheels are turning on a lot of other things and possibilities. And if you go out and do a little search for some other videos, some of the potential uses for this very powerful software. But this is a must-have tool. And as we progress and learn other things with other softwares and then get into more advanced topics, like a second year of university where you're now taking the more advanced courses on all of these, we'll start to really examine, how to really bring success in a much more honed fashion. That's it for now, guys. And remember, if you like these videos, remember to give us a like. You want to see more, remember to subscribe, okay? That being said, now if you found my channel because you were searching for backlinking and related SEO, and you realize that these types of softwares and getting into this is more than you realize you're able to get involved with. You handle your own SEO, perhaps you're even an SEO agency, or you have the real business of what you do behind your websites, but you recognize that you need these high quality backlinking approaches, then visit us at SEOdepot.com. Link building services that actually work, providing greater stability against Google algorithm changes and increased rebound times from severe changes due to the algorithm. But over time, it will also increase your page rank and responses to a broader range of search phrases on Google and other search engines, inflating your presence dramatically over time. With strategically engineered tiered content that backlinks to your site with information, images, and videos from your source. All of the content created and generated is related topically to the content of your website and services. We will also provide a professional SEO audit and technical analysis that we will use to provide some coaching and give you some additional tips and approaches that will augment your existing SEO and help maximize the process of backlinking to expand your presence on the internet and search engines. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.